days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, right at you. You give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.
So I called for a boycott. Twitter saying 1.3 million people listened to their Elon Musk interview last night at 8:00 Eastern. I was like, I blocked Trump on Twitter and I blocked Elon Musk on Twitter because why? Why do we need this? We don't need this. We already know it's going to be a bunch of lies. And Elon Musk is not a journalist. He is a Nazi propagandist. I'm not trying to listen to a Nazi propagandist who's a billionaire who wants Trump in so that he can not be regulated as he pollutes the water in Texas. We're going to get to that later, as he's polluting the space and without check and imbalances. As he keeps putting out these horrible cars, he's unchecked, right? I don't need to hear him. Did you listen?
Oh, gosh, no.
Okay, you didn't either. Okay, high five to you.
Yeah, no. I mean, and I'll tell you, Mike, there's a few reasons why for all the things that you just said. I mean, the Elon takeover of Twitter is particularly biting to me because if you go back in the Wayback Machine when that happened, it was 2 weeks before the congressional midterms, and our response, people's response was abhorrence, and they wanted to get off the app, which I understand. The problem was, like, that is the main communications hub for politics. There is no alternative. And because there wasn't one shiny, big alternative for everyone to go to at once, you add that dispersion between Blue Sky and this and that and that. And, a lot of people gave up the most important communications hub that we have, which is Twitter. So I just wanted to add that in. The purpose was for them to control that hub, and it's one of our only tools. We don't have the infrastructure they have, especially the comms area. So losing Twitter was so valuable. The other reason I didn't want to watch it or participate, though, is because I knew it would last for 2 hours. Okay, like everything this man does is a 2-hour. Whatever. And there's no way I'm giving Donald Trump 2 hours of my life.
No, I'm not giving him 2 seconds, but unfortunately I do need to talk about him today so we can talk about other things. So I didn't listen. Shout out to Shauna Renee, who did an amazing job going through it. So we're going to borrow a couple of clips from the morning show. If you're not listening to Urban View Mornings, tune in, check it on demand. She was filling in for Omi Bell today. Chef's kiss to everybody on Urban View Mornings. So first there was technical delays, which is hilarious because you're a tech bro. This is your business. This is what you do, which tells me everything that I already knew, which is that he too, like Trump, is a carnival barker. He puts his name. He's not Nikolai Tesla. He doesn't have the brain, the brain power, the acumen, none of that. What he does is buys companies and runs them into the ground, apparently, because this Twitter is also a whole mess. I'm gonna say less about that. So it was some delays. He claimed they were hacked. So how are you hacked? Aren't you a tech genius? How'd you let them get in? So it started late, like 40 minutes late.
Yep.
And I didn't hear Trump complain about that. He complained about the NABJ starting 30 minutes late. I wonder what the difference is. You didn't say anything about the 40-minute delay, but you were complaining about the 30-minute delay that you helped contribute to, by the way. All right, so it was a monologue, mostly, and I just want to play 2 clips because I think these 2 clips will be his death knell. Let's start with the education piece because you tweeted about it, Rachel Bittercoffer. Start with that one, Smiz.
I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them, or 20 of them, will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well-run.
Sure.
And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of, the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But if you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington.
Oh, my God. First of all, people pointed out that they think that he took his dentures out because it was not video, it was audio. And so you could see, you could hear the spit, you could hear the gum on the tongue, no teeth, you could hear all of that. And the shush, 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 and the slurring, which usually happens sometimes when his dentures get a little loose. But I think he just took them jokers out, sat them in a glass, and was like, bet. So I just wanted to clear that up because I heard it. You tweeted, Rachel, why is Donald Trump laser focused on ending the Department of Education, question mark. And you went on to tell us. So tell us, why is he focused on something that he clearly hasn't used himself?
Yeah, let me tell you guys why Republicans are focused on quote unquote local control of education. There are federal rules and mandates that are not only, mandated through the DOE, but enforced by the Department of Education, right? And most particularly, it's to ensure the public school mission, the mission of public schooling in this country since the first version of it, and as it's expanded out, is that it should be accessible to everyone, right? And because of that, the Department of Ed has all kinds of requirements about the curriculum, the guidance counselors you have, the clubs you offer to foster diversity and equity and inclusion. Okay. And that not just is in terms of racial, ethnic, and undocumented students would be a category in there, but it also applies to the disabled. My son, for example, would be this person. And what they cannot, there's things they want to do at the red state level, but they cannot do it so long as the federal government mandates those things, because at the end of the day, the money comes from, a lot of the education money comes from the federal government down to the state. So they want local control, but what about all the money that pays? The government, the federal government policy now is, because we control these purse strings, we are able to also mandate these equality and inclusion standards. Okay. So why they want to eliminate that, it isn't just about bureaucrats, and certainly isn't having anything to do with performance. It is about freeing up states like Oklahoma, Idaho, as he just mentioned, to be able to do significant changes on how on racial integration stuff. They could return to segregation potentially under that. That's why they're focused on it. And it's such I just want to take a second to point out, it is such a radical policy. I mean, it's an insane policy, right? If a Democrat was running on getting rid of the Department of Education, right? That would be, people would notice that is a very extreme position, right? And so I'm trying to get the media to understand this is why it's in the crosshairs. It's not because they think schools are underperforming. His version of all these great schools, well, I can tell you right now where the schools, the people, the states that will be punished the most: Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, okay? Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia. Those are the states that most need the federal government's intervention in their education systems to encourage and mandate even these bare line services that are so minimal that when I realized my son was disabled, one of the motivations to move from the Southeast back to Oregon was because of that infrastructure. They want to be completely free of these federal mandates, but they don't want to give up the federal money. And right now that federal money is used to coerce them into cooperation.
My days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, right at you. You give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.